fucking marry on what they've been doing for 250 fucking years. They're white supremacists, and they operate in the function of slave catchers. Literally, they move around in roving bands and decide who belongs and who doesn't, at will, with no oversight. What the fuck is that?
And somebody asked me to compare ICE today to Hitler's troops and to the slave patrols. And I can't do much with Hitler's troops. Like I say, I'm an Americanist. But I will say about the slave patrols in the American South before the Civil War, they were they were very much, obviously, about controlling the slave population. But they were also about controlling the white population. And that's important to remember in this moment that. And the same was true after the Civil War, especially in the moments immediately after the Civil War. A huge number of Black Americans were lynched by their white supremacist neighbors, but so were a lot of white Americans in the early years. The idea being to create terror against anybody who would stand against the regime. And you're seeing the same thing in Minnesota. And that's important to remember because as they are trying to cow Americans, white American citizens, it's not working. And this is one of the things I think that terrifies Trump is that it's just astonishing to me he started this in Minnesota. So I don't know if many of you have traveled much in Minnesota. I won't say I've traveled a ton in Minnesota, but I'm there not infrequently. There's a reason it's called Minnesota Nice. And they have a sense of community, a really deep sense of community and history. One of the reasons I go there so much is they have a very well-supported history museum that has people like me in to talk all the time because they are so incredibly civic-minded. And they could fill a major lecture hall twice in one day to hear a lecture on something like the Homestead Strike, which I spoke on there once. These people care deeply about their communities. So to start in Minnesota, which I don't think they picked for that reason, I think they picked it because it has a large Somali population. But to start there and to try to impose their will on that particular community was an interesting choice. Maybe they didn't really believe in such a thing as community, but it's not working. You know, Minnesotans are working together to reinforce community against, as I say, these badly outnumbered ICE agents in a country that has 340 million people. So that aspect of ICE, the attempt to cow all Americans, not simply people of color, but all Americans to say, oh, you're right, I'm not going to stand against Donald Trump, seems anyway to be backfiring. And instead of that happening, what you're seeing, I think, with this combination of Trump's deterioration and that pushback